talk about it, you know, give everybody time to look at it, consume it. We also have to wait to see what our numbers are from the state, where, you know, things we have to cut, things to look at, do we want to go lower, do we not, and those are things we'll discuss.
Time for comment after we digest it a little bit.
Unless you feel you have something right now, but usually what we try to do is like go to the next board meeting, then come back, discuss it. And so I said, if you have technical questions, submit them so we can try to get it to John, because the next board meeting we have, hold on a second. Transportation is here. So we'll answer questions we can, and John doesn't necessarily come to the next board.
I guess one of the things that would be helpful is that when we look at what our actual run rates are for this year and what the total budget numbers would be for next year, and if the both budgets are plus or minus that, our actual rates, some explanation of what they would be, so we can see some real numbers and see some real comparisons. You know, in some cases, rates go up, whatever.
Yeah.
Chip rates go up, can't do much about it. But then we mean we have to really tighten it up somewhere else.
Right.
You know, so that helps really. There's things you can control and there's things that you can't.
And that's why too, if you notice, John gives a colored one that goes back several years to give you some history. The actual other budget Carol puts together, that obviously the numbers come from those. But it's nice to see it both ways. It gives you good running history.
And again, it makes it a little tough because you can't look at the actual numbers for this year because we're not through it yet. So
You know, you have to,
we're dropping back a year.
extrapolation required, and,
Yeah.
but you can look at some historical.
And now, fuel bids, we just got notified today that they're collecting that information from us. We put down the number of gallons per estimated fuels and some utilities. And we won't have that information back until March.
Is that
What
all?
we will be paying for next year, starting September to next August.
So we buy futures basically, or BOCES does?
They don't buy futures, I mean, the company says, okay, we'll sell it to you for this dollar amount. And we can either go fixed or variable, but I don't have that information for next meeting. What I can tell you is I can go back and figure out how many gallons we used last year and how many I'm going to project that we use this year.
Mhm.
I can tell you what we're going to pay this year. And I can get maybe a number, you know, how we're purchasing, and say what we think is going to go wrong. That kind of information I can get to you.
And I'm projecting that this year's fuel is going to be lower use because the fall was so warm. And also I'm getting more and more familiar with the biomass. I started 2 weeks earlier with the biomass this year than I had the year before. So that's that much less fuel we have to buy. I only have to buy 1 load of fuel this fall. And I try very hard not to only buy 1 load in the spring. So, you know, if I can do that, then that will cut the number down. But then again, too, if next year, it's a cold fall, you know, this, it just, you know, in things, you know, conspire against us, you know, we gotta have a little bit of cushion.
How much difference the winter was from last year to
Oh,
this year.
absolutely.
You know, things will shoot that with everything.
Yeah.
What's the
Well,
pitch you gotta
snowfall
read?
difference too.
Yeah.
17 inches to 2 inches.
What's the pitch you gotta read before you can start buying this?
I can run it comfortably up to about 55 outside. When it gets between 55 and 60, I have to start watching it very closely. Over 60, if I don't shut it down, it'll shut itself down. So that's where this generator would be really nice because on those 60-degree days, you still want a little bit of heat, you know, but just very little. And I could, you know, run some heat through that generator and keep the thing running to, you know, not buy any fuel.
Are you gonna have to do any modifications to the biomass for running it in there or something?
Well, the building itself, the biomass itself, would run anytime if it's got a load, you know, it would run anytime.
And your local generator?
And the load would be the generator. Again, all that conversion is the price of electricity and the price of the chips and all that stuff has to be figured out and,
Well, some use it, people want you to.
very, about 2/3, we say.
Hey, John, earlier in the year, there was discussions about our current backup generator needing replacement or something on it. Is there an update on that? Or?
We haven't heard anything back from the state, nothing. You guys know, they marked us, you know, unsatisfactory with the generator. and that typically is a red flag to them. But either they accepted our letter, that we will replace it in the next project, or they're just so swamped they haven't got back to us yet.
Which is more the case probably.
Probably
That's
the
not-
case,
yeah.
Is there any way we could tie in a new backup generator for this project?
Absolutely. If this goes ahead, I got a list started.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I was gonna talk about tonight, and I don't know, want to just do it real quickly. Because we have a group of things, that we have to go with, to get that generator, the other one out for the biomass. We know we need curtains, we have double pane windows that have to be replaced. There was, well, the tiles out in the field, and John has a list of other things, so we can certainly use a project, but we were kind of waiting to see what was gonna happen with that generator.
The generator had a certain status, it was supposed to be available for ice storms and stuff like this, shelter, wasn't there? It seemed like there was some status that we got classified as, and then we can't get out.
That's different than what, and we are
Yeah.
considered a shelter. I haven't signed anything for the last 2 years, I've received nothing from them. So, they don't need anything, that's what it is.
Yeah. 'Cause I told them, and we can't, when we're on our emergency generator, we can't run our kitchen. We don't power our hood, the valves shut off for the gas, we can't run our kitchen currently with our generator. So they really wouldn't make much of a shelter if you can't cook anything, you know.
Do they do that? Does the Department of Homeland Security have any grants if you ran any shelter? I know there's some institutions that have money provided by the state if they upgrade certain, emergency generator, for example, to do a shelter in case of an event.
It's possible.
I know you won't get state aid. If you're doing it for,
Any
so
federal
becoming
money?
a shelter, you will not get state aid, you will not get building aid for that.
Oh, okay.
The other aid that you're asking, but state aid, you will not get building aid.
So I know there's federal disaster grant money. You at the hospital.
Yeah,
We have $45,000 a year. We need to maintain ourselves as a
yeah. I really don't have a good guess on what this generator project will be, upgrading our emergency generator. I know it's a load issue, it's the type of loads that are connected, there's nothing wrong with the generator, obviously. It's the type of loads that are connected to it. They do not want our life safety loads on that generator, which is our emergency lights, our fire alarm, that kind of stuff. They do not want them tied to that generator.
that specific generator or any generator.
No, that generator.
All in one.
They don't want them, because there's other loads onto it too, we have a water system up, there's other loads onto it too. They want the health and safety, life and safety loads to be completely separate. So I got several ideas when we do have to get into it, which we will, we have to. We got several ideas how we can do it reasonably.
Was that an engineering oversight on the project that we overloaded the generator?
No, the generator's not overloaded. This was an original building oversight. When the building was built originally, is when all this was done.
Was the code still in place at that time?
Yeah, yeah. And when they first started talking about this, I didn't believe it. It can't be, this building was all state ed approved, it's brand new in 1989, what's the deal? I thought they were trying to pull something on us. And you get into the codes and start investigating, and
What would say that?
the codes do say that, and state ed missed it, and the original engineer, Thomas and Associates, that built the building, they missed it. It was just,
But it's obviously also never a section that something you checked before, because it was new on the building survey
right.
last year. So
Right.
it's never been looked at before, which is why,
And what Bernier Carr told us is that they never asked, the building condition surveys never had these questions on them before to be
Right.
asked. So that's why they didn't catch it in earlier building condition surveys.
Sort of understand it. It's not so much an issue with the load of the total load of the generator.
No,
They just want the life safety stuff to be on a separate
exactly.
generator unit. They want it on a separate generator, basically. That's-
Some separate power source. You add your banks, some kind of separate power source. They want our life safety stuff, yeah.
UPC or something.
And what, the kicker on it is what gets us, it wouldn't take much at all to do our emergency lighting and that stuff on a battery bank. Our fire pump out there, a 50 horse electric motor, it's huge. And that's, you can't run that on batteries. So that's what I'm kind of wrangling with, that's what one of the questions will be, what else can we do to provide our fire protection?
Just buy a separate generator and make it so that what you have for the sheriff's office, generator is sitting outside the building.
Sure. That's what Bernier Carr's initial proposal was. Take all our life safety loads, put another generator outdoors in its own building. And that's the other requirement. If it's going to be a generator and it's going to provide life safety issues like that, then it's got to be outside, can't be within the building. It's got to be outside the building in its own container.
Makes sense. Have a dry fire, have a dry fire extinguisher.
So, we only have about 7 sprinkler heads, just on
They're
our,
required area.
over top of our auditorium stage, that's all we have. Got a couple of fire hoses just off the stage, and we have a hydrant hookup, where a truck could hook up out back. But we've only got 30,000 gallons of storage of water. About maybe 20 of it, maybe not even 20 of it is usable, because we do flow, right? So it just seems to be a lot of expense and a lot of work for that much water. When our plan is, and always has been, our plan is to draft out of the pool. We've got 140,000 gallons in there, they're all hose in there, and you've got a considerable amount of water instead of emptying that 20,000 gallons, you know?
Is there a reason you can't do that?
That's what the plan is, that's what the fire department's plan is. If they come in here for a major fire, that's what they're gonna do.
That's not,
But that's not state ed's thing, you know?
So we're not on two different examples.
Well, we've got to come up with a different fire plan that state ed will agree to, or we've got to do what they want us to do with this other issue.